Hey there, my name is Jim. I'm the CEO of SEO Vendor. I hope you're enjoying this series on AI analysis and predictive AI. We're going to now continue with part 2 to go through and explain how it is that our AI analysis works. Whereas before in 2018, we were getting, somewhere roughly about 100 or so, maybe of those keywords that were ranking into the top 10, and then ranking overall maybe about 400 of those 500 keywords. We went from that to what is now ranking close to 350, and we're even about to reach 400 of those keywords out of 500, reaching into the top 10 positions of Google. And then on top of that, the majority and 99% of keywords are all ranked. So out of 500 keywords, you really have a very small percentage of keywords that's actually not ranking, and you have a vast majority of those keywords now that are actually ranking on the top 10 pages of Google within 6 months. Now, there's of course exceptions to that rule, but overall, when we look at systematically how we work as a team, you're looking at savings on time, you're looking at more accurate, more reliable performance out of utilizing AI analytics, and also at the end of the day, the AI system appears to be learning from all of this, and therefore as time goes on, we're seeing that there's more consistent results, and we're able to benchmark even better results. And I think that if we were to look forward to what the AI system is able to teach us, is that if we continue to make improvements to the system itself, the AI system itself, then chances are the performance could get even better than what we have now. Okay. So I want to also go over for you what are really the different types of AI analysis. Now, the most basic type of analysis that you could use a neural network for, but you don't have to. You could do this today in Microsoft Excel, is something called regression trend analysis. So this is simply taking a look at a set of data. So for example, you can take a look at rankings, and let's say you have rankings for January through October, and you wanted to kind of project what are the rankings possibilities for November and December. What you can do is you can actually have Excel draw what's called a trend line or a regression line. You can project out 2 steps ahead or 3 steps ahead, however long you want to go for, in order to get an idea of if you were to just continue doing the things that you're doing, what would that trend look like. Okay? Now, regression analysis has its good and bad. On one hand, if you were to use regression analysis, it does provide a good idea of the momentum of the direction that's going in. But what it cannot take into account is things like, say, if Google updated their algorithm tomorrow and your rankings took a big hit, it has no idea. Or let's say if, say, for example, your competitors are somehow doing something very different and they're getting far ahead, and all of a sudden it began to impact your rankings, then it's not going to know. So what it does know is that based on how you're building your rankings, then it's predicting whether it's going to accelerate in a certain way, or at least what direction it's going to head in. So those are the only 2 things it's good at. And regressive based SEO also comes in 2 forms. So generally speaking, you can have what's called a linear line. So that's like a straight line, and you just draw it across the direction that it's going in. Or it can be a polymorphic line, so a line that has a little bit of a curvature to it, so that you can look at the acceleration, deceleration. So hopefully your calculus is good, or you remember some things about that. But even if you didn't, it's kind of self-explanatory. You have a line that basically is headed in the direction you want, and the curve, if it's a curved line, then the speed of that curvature, so basically if it's curving up rapidly, then chances are you're looking at rankings increasing at a much quicker pace later on. Or if it's kind of topping out, then that means that your rankings probably aren't going to increase at that high of a speed. Now, the other type of AI that for example, in our agency that we have utilized is a much more advanced form of actually taking neural networks and developing that into an analytic system where it can look at the behavior of ranking factors for each individual keyword and then process that across the board for, say, a set of competitors. Like, let's say you have 10 competitors these are the top ranking competitors and what are their attributes, and then be able to look at a number of factors. These could be anything from what's in the title tag to how many backlinks to how many words on a particular page, to look at all these SEO factors and then to come to a conclusion. And what that really entails then is that it entails learning. So where the AI has to learn, and the way it learns is that AI is trained based on iteration. So what that means is that it goes through the patterns of these SEO factors multiple times in order to figure out what's the most decisive set of relations. It has to be on a keyword by keyword basis, because essentially every keyword can have a different set of competitors, sites that is competing against, and even if that keyword was a close variation, the top results for that keyword could be very different. And so we have to always take that into account. And so what we do is then we look at what the AI system is telling us in terms of what's that gap, and then we look at more specifically into the types of issues that it factored in the first place. Because remember, the AI system is not going to tell you, hey, you need to go fix your domain authority, or hey, your title tags aren't long enough. So you got to further analyze what the AI is telling you and suggesting what kind of performance your site currently has in relation to these sites that you're comparing it against, and then take that information and then do a reverse analysis on these factors that you have put in. So if you put in 50 factors, you got to go back and analyze all 50 factors. Now, of course, you don't want to do that manually, so you would have, like, say, for example, here, we would have a process in place that's automated to go back and calculate that analysis in order to come to the right conclusion as to what's the gap, where things are missing, and what needs to be done. Generally speaking, once you have, say, a trained set for an AI, AIs kind of work like your brain as well. You can have it collect things into memory. And so what, for example, you can do is you can take a particular project, every keyword for that project, whether if it's 10 or 50 or 150, and you can store it in memory banks so that you have complete sets of training that's for each individual keyword for every project that you have. And what this does is that then you have a complete set of analysis for a particular project for every individual keyword, so that whenever you want to run that analysis, that data is readily available and you don't have to then retrain it again right there on the spot. Now, every once in a while, you still want to retrain that AI because the keywords are going to have different competitors, rankings will change. Because of that fluctuation, and also because of changing factors with Google, you want to take that into account. So this is the end of part 2. We're going to wrap it up here, and we're going to continue into part 3 in the next segment to try to finalize all of this. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please go ahead and like and subscribe.